How did you come about making a film about the life of Richard Kuklinski?
I visited Turkey. And after spending 3 days in Istanbul, I said, I gotta write a movie about sociopaths. No, I watched the documentary, I was introduced to the character, I read a lot of materials about him, I saw that there's something about his characters, about the economy of duality that really attracted me, and I was drawn to that. I was drawn to tell a story about that guy that can handle those two worlds, the Jekyll and Hyde, and still sustaining a certain crazy, killing life and sustaining family life, and then what in between makes him the person that he is. So that was very attractive to me.
Now, you've had some success with other films before, but one could say you're a newish director. How difficult was it to make this film? Period films are always more costly, producers are less inclined to make them.
It was very difficult because I think every movie has its own challenging. Some films has the great, stamp of a true story, and of a story that, more or less people knows about it, but it's easy to draw them in. This movie, obviously had Michael Shannon early down the road, that it was kind of like a vehicle for the gathering all the rest of the cast with us. But every film has its own challenging. I think this one specifically was very tough because of the storytelling and how do you condense 20 years in such a short time, and because of that, there are so many materials out there that people can go and relate and still tell them the point of view that even if they watch a documentary, they'll still be intrigued and enjoy the film. And telling a dark movie in kind of like a commercial way that you're going to be related to this character. So a lot of challenges.
Michael Shannon's performance was terrific. How did you persuade him to be a part of it?
I didn't have a lot of money to offer him. And I guess perseverance, that's the main thing. I think Michael was related to the script. From the moment he read the script, he wants to be in it. At the beginning, he was a little bit reluctant because he didn't believe that I can finance this movie with him. As you know, it's very tough to get a movie financed today. And especially it's not, it's not an expensive film, but we couldn't make it for a couple of $100,000. So my perseverance of insisting of having him and then bringing him from New York to LA to shoot a test scene and kind of like show the world that he's perfect for that, and not giving up on him. And so many times, his schedule didn't work it out, and he was like, told me, listen man, if you need to go and do it with somebody else, go do it. And I was like, hell no. So Michael Shannon was the right guy.
You have an impressive lineup of stars: Winona Ryder, James Franco, Ray Liotta, Chris Evans, Stephen Dorff. How did you manage to get everyone on board? Any interesting casting stories?
Well, when they heard that Schwimmer is on board, they all joined.
That was an interesting choice too.
Well, again, it's the script and Michael Shannon. I didn't have a body of work that was like got people excited to work with me at that time, so I can only show them a little bit what I did with the test. But I was very, very determined about my passion to the project, and the script was talking for itself. And the fact that Michael wanted to do it, a lot of people say that I want to work with this guy. So that was a good gamble.
Well, fabulous. We wish you the best of success in your future endeavors.
All right, and it's about time I'm going to go to Turkey.
Well, that's great. We have to make a film in Turkey then. They made Argo and James Bond recently, so we have to get you to come and make a film in Turkey.
Well, Ankara. I want to go to Ankara.
No, Istanbul's prettier.
Istanbul is prettier? Yeah, so we go to Istanbul.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of co-productions right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah. Argo was made there.
Really?
James Bond was made there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, we will organize a meeting with Erdogan for you. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Well, I play the wife of Richard Kuklinski, who was a contract killer. She married, had children, very long marriage, claimed to not know anything. I think actually she did, but she was just living in denial. And very ambiguous, very sort of complicated character. Definitely interesting relationship, and that's what I was sort of drawn to more so than like his that side, because that was just so extremely violent and, you know. But I was like, who is this woman who would stay in this relationship for this long?
How did you come to be a part of Iceman, and how did you prepare for the role?
Well, they offered it to me, and I wanted to work with Michael very much, and so I was very excited. And I sort of prepared by not preparing, because there wasn't a lot of information available about her. It was mostly him talking about brutal murders, and that wasn't helpful, because I think I was trying to sort of put blinders on. So I kind of did the opposite of what I would normally do, which was just sort of put blinders on. I blocked out everything in the script that she was in denial about, and just tried to just focus on, the relationship between them.
Now, it's a very emotionally complex relationship between the two leads. Your husband in the film, played by Michael Shannon. What was it like working with him? Did you rehearse a lot, and how did you two work it out?
Well, it wasn't we didn't have a lot of money or time. And Michael works in a way where I think he saves it. He saves it for the take, so you don't know what's going to happen. So there's that great element of surprise, and it really keeps you on your toes. It keeps you present, keeps you in the moment, which is incredibly important. It's what we should always be doing as actors, but we can get lazy. So I really appreciated that, that element, that way of working. I honestly was in that moment. I was honestly there because of, he commands that.
Ryder Kuklinski was a hitman who lived in New Jersey. He was a successful hitman. He killed at least 100 people, probably more. And he had a family that apparently, supposedly, was not aware of what he did for a living. That he somehow managed to keep it a secret from them.
Now, this was one crazy character to play. How did you prepare for this role? I mean, how does one prepare to play such a character?
Well, fortunately, he had done an interview from prison that they showed on HBO, and I got the full unedited version of that interview, and I watched it a lot. It's over 20 hours long, and I probably watched it at least 10 times. And just tried to get an impression of what was going on in his mind from watching that.
I last watched you in Take Shelter opposite Jessica Chastain. You played a character called Curtis, who is also a very tormented soul. Any reason why you keep getting offered these roles? You're obviously good at it, but why is that?
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know why I get offered anything. I only know why I do things. And I do everything for pretty different reasons. I did Take Shelter because I had done Jeff Nichols' first film, Shotgun Stories, and we had a good rapport with one another. And I found the story of Take Shelter very moving. For this, I didn't know Ariel. I hadn't worked with him before, but I just thought Kuklinski was a fascinating man and a puzzle, and I'm excited by puzzles, and I was excited by the challenge of trying to unlock his mind.
What was the most difficult scene for you to play in this film?
There were a lot of scenes that were very unpleasant, but there's a very upsetting scene towards the end of the film where one of my daughters has gotten hit by a car, and I rushed to the hospital, and Winona's basically saying, this is your fault, you better find out who did this, and that scene was very intense, shooting that scene.
If you could play anyone in the world's history, dead or alive, who would you like to play, your dream role?
I don't know, I've been reading a book about a saxophone player named Art Pepper. A friend of mine suggested actually that we try and make a movie out of it. And he's a really interesting cat. and it's a great book. It's called Straight Life, and I might try and do that someday. But yeah, I don't know. I like to be surprised. I get excited by surprises.
Well, we have no doubt you're going to do very well in whatever it is you decide to do, so we wish you the best of luck and success. Thank you.